Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And yes, here we go. This is episode 312 of Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, British by birth, American by choice, welcoming you to yet another hour of news, views around the political scene in America today. And we've got a lot to talk about. But first of all, before we do that, I want to say hi. I see there's some folks have arrived in the chat room already. Yeah, Paul and Rex are there. There are a couple of regular listeners. Welcome, guys. As Rex says, yes, another crazy day in the world. It was another crazy day. Hope you're doing okay, Rex. Saw some of your postings, and those didn't look too good, but hopefully you're feeling good. And today's show is coming to you from the beautiful city of Oldsmar. You say, Oldsmar, where's that? Never heard of it. Well, before we get into the politics, just to let you know, I am on the road, this time not for work, but for pleasure. And Oldsmar, where I am right now, is a little town. I called it a city, but actually it's a little town just outside Tampa, actually between Tampa and Clearwater, that was founded 100 years ago by somebody called R.E. Olds. And I've mentioned a couple of times on the show, as part of my late life crisis a couple of years ago, I acquired a classic car, which happens to be an Oldsmobile, one which is now 65 years old. And as part of the 100 years celebration down here in Oldsmar, which was indeed founded by R.E. Olds, who founded Oldsmobile, went on to do a number of other companies as well. But he did found this town down here. Like I said, at the time it was totally standalone, but since then Tampa and Clearwater have kind of grown towards it, and so it's now part of the sprawling suburbia around the Tampa Bay. But it is celebrating its 100 years, and therefore lots of Oldsmobile enthusiasts are coming to the town for this 100-year celebration. So here I am. I brought the car down. We're actually in the RV down here. Put the car. I was going to drive the car down. It is a driver. It would go that far, but with bringing the RV down as well, put the car up on the trailer, a U-Haul trailer behind the RV, and here we are now in beautiful and muggy and hot Florida. I'd forgotten how much humidity it does have down here, but getting ready to get into 4 or 5 days of events around this 100-year centenary of Oldsmar town. And we've got a car show, we've got a parade, we're going to visit some car museums. So it's going to be a fun week all in all. However, enough of that idle chit-chat. We need to get to politics because there's been a lot going on. I would say the biggest thing over the last over the last week has probably been the schoolboy fights about wives and lovers. I think schoolboy fights, tit for tat. Yes, there are all sorts of reasons we know. Donald Trump is very much, you say something about me, I will hit you back, and I will hit you back sometimes twice as hard. But at a certain point, it gets old, and hopefully Donald will learn that yes, you need to hit back short and sharp and then move on to the next thing. There is so much going on in the world that we need to focus on the real issues. Now, however, I want to give an editorial comment here. Are there any conditions under which wives or personal activities, shall we say, would be fair game? Normally we always say keep the wives out of it, keep the children out of it. What you do in private should be your own business. However, if it's something which could be a security risk, for which you could be blackmailed, how about that? Or if you're a conservative candidate running on family and other moral values, but if you don't follow those values yourself, then I think it is fair game to bring that in. So, for example, if somehow something your wife does relates to some of these issues, for example, by filing for divorce twice in the last 3-4 years, maybe being treated for serious depression, which might be in connection with your husband's actions, is that part of what needs to be discussed? You can't sweep that under the rug. I know a lot of the candidates would like to. And of course then you say, well, is this the case for Heidi Cruz? What about Donald Trump and his 3 wives, etc.? He's been very open about it. He said for his first 2 wives, it was his fault why he got divorced, working too hard, not spending enough time with the family. So I don't know with Heidi Cruz whether some of the rumors swirling around have anything to do that, but I think there is justification, especially because Ted Cruz is running on a slate of being a conservative with very strong moral and family values. Now, Rex said, well, let's talk about Hillary's abortions. You can, but has Hillary ever said that she was against abortions, but she had them anyway? No, she's always said she's in favor of them. So you can't really hold that, against her. Now, if you are someone who really believes in the right to life, you can hold it against her, but then you need to hold it against all liberals in principle, because they all pretty much hold that way of thinking, and you're right to do so. But for her individually and to hold it against her, that's you and that's your conscience. That's for you to do. Is it something that the press can rake up and investigate and research? Like I said, if she's always said she's in favor of them, why would you get all uptight about her having them? At least from a ethical and moral point of view. Like I said, whether or not you think it's right that she should even have them is something else. But what I'm looking at is the ethics, the morals of the candidates themselves. Do they say one thing and do another? And we see a lot of things on the Cruz side that, at least for me, raise questions. Now, we've got a pretty busy chat room tonight, by the way. I notice in addition to Rex and Paul, now Mary has joined, as well as Carl Clay Vetter. So Mary, welcome, and Carl Clay. just want to remind you, Carl Clay is another of the authors. Of course, Rex Repe with the FEMA Camp series is our big author that's always here. But Carl Clay has also is also an author and has also written a number of books. Crossbreeds is one of his main themes, and I just finished the first crossbreed book, Carl Clay, a very interesting book, I have to say. So anyway, that's everything of the folks in the chat room. As ever, thanks for coming there. And that was my opening text there about the schoolboy fights. Yes, we do get tired of them, but they can have value. So we do have time before the first break for another topic, so let's move on. And the next topic I'd like to bring up tonight, coming to you from steamy Oldsmar in Florida, is hypocrisy from the ruling class. And of course, what I'm talking about is the fact that Mitt Romney, currently pushing so hard for a contested convention, he's been working the robocalls and everything in different states, supporting different people, just trying to make sure that anybody but Trump gets in. Strangely enough, though, and now he's saying, oh yes, we want to have a contested convention, that would be the best thing for the GOP. Strangely enough, 3 years ago he thought it would be a mistake to have a minority choose a nominee. He told the Boston Globe in 2013 that he wished to change the Republican Party nomination process. I'm concerned that there's an effort on the part of some to move towards caucuses or conventions to select nominees, Romney said. I think that's a mistake. Wah, 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 wah. I mean, folks, this is just yet another typical politician. This is one of the reasons why Trump, with all his faults, is doing so well, because he is not your typical politician. And that's what we're fed up with, because they say whatever they feel is expedient at that point in time. Now, we know Romney's been actively campaigning against one guy, yes, the Donald, and as I said before, he supports one candidate in one state, the other candidate, right? He was doing Marco Rubio in Florida, Kasich in Ohio, Cruz wherever, and just so that they can make sure that Donald doesn't get the requisite number of votes. Now there are rumors that the GOP elites are going to change the rules, that even if Donald were to get the 1237 that beforehand was published he should have, now they're going to change the rules that may not be enough, or some of the delegates can be taken off of him. Folks, the GOP is on a suicide mission. That's all I can say right now. Now, at the beginning of this topic, I said, right, hypocrisy from the ruling class. And I want to say I used the term ruling class there deliberately. And one of the things was I was looking at all of this, and I sort of thought, you know what? That famous English series Downton Abbey is just finished after 6 series. But go back to that very first year of Downton Abbey, which was that was when the Titanic went down. You can remember that was sort of part of the beginning of that. And at that time, Britain had the Lords that ruled over the country, even though they also had an elected House of Commons. But basically that ruling class did rule a lot over everything there. And I think, to me, that looks just like what's going on in Washington today. The elites in D.C. think that they are the lords that can lord it over us commoners today as well. Think about it, folks. A lot of similarity there. Anyway, I see the clock has been ticking. I'm actually a little late. It is time for a quick commercial. I will be back after these messages and a quick swig from my adult beverage.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Doc, you gotta give it to me straight.
All right.
'Cause I'm dying here. I mean, take a look at this letter from the IRS.
Oh, my.
This is killing me, Doc. I tell you, it's killing me.
Cheer up, my friend.
Huh?
The tax doctor is here. My diagnosis tells me that you're going to be just fine.
Really?
The tax doctor will not rest until we find you the best possible tax settlement.
Really, Doc?
Guaranteed.
If the IRS claims you owe them $10,000 or more in business or personal back taxes, call a tax doctor right now. We could save you up to 75% if you qualify. Guaranteed or you pay nothing. Call right now for free details.
800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. That's 800-917-8546.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And folks, we're back in the show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately. Just a reminder for my listeners, if you're listening live tonight on the radio, click on the speech button, join us in the chat room. We have a lot of interesting discussions going on there. And if you're listening to one of the recordings or one of the rebroadcasts, either at Red State Talk Radio or at the 405 Media, then you can't participate in the chat room, but you can send your questions, comment, feedback, whatever, to me, Stefan at patrickcomelately.us, or go to the website www.patrickcomelately.us and fill out the contact form there, and that will get your message to me. I love to hear from my listeners, so like I said, if you've got comments, if you've got questions, any feedback, please do send it to me, and I will try and answer you directly, as well as bringing your feedback or questions into a future show. Right now, the discussion in the chat room seems to be about eligibility, which is probably a topic for a full show. But just very quickly, what I'm going to be answering to that one is, I think actually it comes down to a decision of, does natural born citizen, which are the words used in the Constitution, do they equate to being a citizen who is not naturalized? In other words, who acquired citizenship through birth? And I think that's going to be the legal discussion coming up. But we'll probably find out as we get closer to the date. And of course, it does focus a lot around Ted Cruz there because of his Canadian birth. But anyway, so we were talking about hypocrisy from the ruling class, and I have even more. And the other hypocrisy from the ruling class, specifically from the GOP elites, are the rumors that continue to swirl around the machination of these people, primarily in DC, and how they want to wrest the selection of the candidate back into their own hands and out of the hands of we the people. Right now, the strongest rumors that I keep hearing are about them wanting to basically get rid of whoever does come in and replace them with Paul Ryan. That's, like I said, the strongest one. There are other names as well. I can't imagine how they can get away with that. Think about it. 17 people gave up their time, their privacy, faced grueling travel, only to end up with a candidate that was coronated by the party bosses. I would imagine those 17 people will be very angry. Some of them will not show it, but they will and should be angry. But worse than that, we should be angry. We should be very, very angry that they think that they can get away with anything like that. So, depending on what happens in Cleveland, let me tell you one thing, folks. I'm looking to have a write-in candidate when it comes round to the general election, if what I feel is wrong happens in Cleveland. Let me just put that out there. Well, Rex says, don't waste your vote. I know. Doing that is a vote for Hillier. But, or it could be even worse, it could actually be for Sanders. But, let me be honest, I'm in the sunset of my years. And I can survive through whatever the regressives throw at me afterwards. It'll be unpleasant, uncomfortable, whatever. Supreme Court clamping down on this, that, and the other. Who I feel sorry for are the children and grandchildren. But basically, if the electorate of today cannot see what they need to do, and they still support a liar like Hillier, or a socialist stroke communist like Sanders, then so be it. They are making their own bed. They will have to lie in it. And as Rex said, good, I have a bunch of FEMA camps I need to fill. Yeah. You're right. And Mary says, Carl Clay says there would be a revolt if we did that. Mary says, we will be revolting. And Mary even says she'll vote against Hillary. I'm not going to vote for Hillary. But like I said, depending on who they foist upon us, if it's bad enough, if it really is, I'll be honest with you right now. If it were a Paul Ryan who didn't go through all the primaries and everything, and they find some way to weasel him in, I would definitely do a write-in vote. No doubt about it. If they somehow, and somebody like Kasich, who has hardly any delegates, and I know it's, we always say, well, you've got to follow the rules, and the rules are if you don't get the majority by the convention, then everything is loose, and it's all back rooms. Yeah, sure, but fine. You want to do that? I'll tell the GOP. You want to do it that way? That's the rules. I agree with you. But if you're blind enough to think that that we're stupid enough to let you get away with it? Nope. I will put a writing candidate that is not the one that you've put forward. And if it means giving it over to Hillary, sorry. I will, like I said, I will not vote for her, but I will vote against her, but maybe not with the candidate that you would like, that would and that candidate, because of writing votes, may not have a chance of getting in, but that would be my way of protesting. Yeah. So sorry, folks. I've always said, sometimes you've just got to hold your nose and vote for the party. But when the party abandons you and betrays you, all bets are off, I'm afraid. All bets are off. And then if Hillary does get in, we'll get more of this crap. Let me tell you about the next piece of crap. So, folks, guess what? Next topic. Muslim organizations are now dictating terms to the FBI. A prominent U.S. anti-discrimination Muslim group recently announced that it is requesting a meeting with FBI Director James Comey and is demanding they cancel an upcoming program set to be released next week. It's called the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, AAADC. Demands that the FBI cancel the launch of its controversial Shared Responsibility Committee program. Since learning about the program last fall, AAADC has frequently expressed serious concerns about the initiative, which is part of the government's Countering Violent Extremism program. And that's because they mention that there is such a thing as Islamist extremists in this program. What happened is the FBI designed an unusual game-style website about extremism meant to be used by teachers and students to help the agency spot and prevent the radicalization of youth. Which to me sounds a logical thing to do. But Muslim and Arab advocacy groups who were briefed by the FBI on the program fear it will instigate discrimination against Muslims. Oh, here we go again. Well, let's write in chalk Muslim extremists all over the streets, and then they can go and get some safe places where they don't need to see that written in chalk. I mean, that was the other big story of last week. Emory University in Atlanta, absolutely crazy. But anyway, so the FBI originally released the online game in February of this year, but then under pressure from CARE, and we all know about CARE, right? They support terrorists, decided to scrub all references to Islamic terrorism, aka jihad, from the website. So you've got this website which is supposed to counter extremism violence, but you can't make references to Islamic terrorism or jihad because it might offend some people. The new and improved version now focuses on animal rights activists, white supremacists, and other violent extremists approved for mention by the Muslim Brotherhood. Folks, this is Bizzaro world. In other words, the Muslims are telling the FBI how to look for Muslim extremists. Or should I say, how not to look for Muslim extremists, because they're making it impossible for the FBI to do that. And we're letting them get away with it. This is just absolutely crazy. And no wonder the left is pushing not to have Trump come in, because Trump won't stand for any of this nonsense. I'd like to think Cruz won't as well. Any of those 17 supposedly wouldn't be that bad, but sometimes I wonder. We've got to remember Cruz and his New World Order background, and of course all this love the Muslim stuff is all NWO stuff. So I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. I'm going to be doing a little bit more research on Ted Cruz, Raphael Cruz Jr., not senior. Well, Raphael Senior as well, because he bears some investigation. Again, you say families should not be part of this, religion shouldn't be part of this, but there's some strange stuff going on in the Cruz family there that we never hear about. Again, should family stuff, should private stuff be part of the discussion? No, but if it impacts the way you think, the way you act, maybe. So, okay, folks, I see that it is, yet again, it is time for that commercial break, and I think maybe time for some music as well. But first of all, the commercial.
Patriot come lately. British by birth. American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
Every day, millions of Americans grow more concerned about the future of our great nation. The truth is, over the last century, a small but powerful collectivist movement known as progressivism has debased our politics, our culture, and our currency. We're just a small step from falling into 1,000 years of darkness, as Ronald Reagan warned. Friend, this is Pat Boone with an important free offer on a hot new book called The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Lowell Ponte. This new book explains how we, the people, can end this fatal detour into big government and get back on the path of faith and freedom charted by our founders. Call now for a free copy of the hot new book called The Great Withdrawal.
Call now for your free copy. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. That's 800-978-3901.
Owe $10,000 or more to the IRS that you can't pay? Call now for immediate help. At the Tax Relief Line, we help people just like you. If you take on the IRS alone, you could be facing levies, liens, even wage garnishments, personal or business tax issues. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, call now and see if you can pay less. They can freeze your bank accounts, even garnish your wages. Call the Tax Relief Line now for immediate help. Our expert team of tax professionals will negotiate your tax problem and deal with the IRS for you. If the IRS is threatening you with levies, wage garnishments, or seizing your assets, call now and see if you can pay the IRS less.
888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043. 888-789-5043.
This is Patriot Come Lately Talk Radio, keeping the spirit of America alive, a proud member of the Red State Talk Radio Network. And welcome back, folks. We're into the second half of the show. In that break, I was just drinking, as I said, an adult beverage. It's actually a bottle of my own cider. I grabbed a few bottles of different beverages out of the fridge in the brewery down in the basement, and this one's been in the bottle for 2 or 3 or 4 months. But man, it is matured. It is very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Anyway, there was a question in the chat room during the break from Edward, who trusts a politician? Nobody does. Do we trust anybody who moves into politics? Even Donald Trump, like I said, he's not perfect, but he's the least politic of the politicians, and I still think our best hope, like I said, not perfect, but look at all the alternatives, and I think he's so much better. But be interesting to see Rex did say, I think Byrne may be the man for the Dems because Hillary, of course, suffered that terrible defeat over the weekend. But can Sanders convince some of enough of the superdelegates? I don't know. So interesting there. Will she get indicted, or will Obama use his capability to pardon and then free her at the last minute? That I don't know either. So anyway, we will see. But for the moment, I haven't done this for a while, so I'm going to play some music this time. And I'm getting a little desperate. I'm not sure whether or not we'll be able to do it, but because of everything that's going on. But hopefully we will. And so I'm going to try and be positive and listen to this song, because we really do want to take our country back, and hopefully we can. But if not, we'll see.
Taking my country back, putting it back on the right track. Corrupt politicians making bad decisions, we all had enough of that. If our founding fathers could talk today, I could hear them say, hey, take your country back, my friend. You gotta take your country back. Get out of my way or step on this train. I'm headed to my Washington house to let those suckers know on election day I'm gonna kick most of them on now. And shout no more high taxes. We want a free market system. We don't like socialism. See, we believe in capitalism. And we love our children, and we love this nation. So let's protect our borders and protect our freedom. I'm taking my country back, putting it back on the right track. Corrupt politicians making bad decisions, we all had enough of that. If our founding fathers could talk today, I can hear them say, take your country back. Oh yeah, son, you gotta take your country back. Take your country back. Oh yeah, you gotta take your country back. Now Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Quincy Adams too. If you could go to Washington one more time, what would you say or do? I'd say no more high taxes. We want a free market system. We don't like socialism. See, we believe in capitalism. And we love our children. And we love this nation. That's why we wrote the Constitution, to protect our freedom. So start taking your country back, putting it back on the right track. Now corrupt politicians making bad decisions, we all had enough of that. If our founding fathers could talk today, I could hear them say, take your country back right now. Yeah, you gotta take your country back. I'll take your country back right now. Son, you gotta take your country back. Oh, take it back. Take it back. And put it back on the right track. Oh, take it back. Take it back. And put it back on the right track. And put it back on the right track. Oh yeah, God help us take our country back and put it back on the right track.
Yes, can we take our country back? That's what we want to do. But with everything going on, like I said, I'm getting a little worried that the ruling classes are just going to pull the rug from under our feet and just do what they do all the time. But we'll see. And will we revolt? Will we have the gonads to do that? I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, time for another topic, I believe. And so the fact that we lost Justice Scalia now becomes very apparent. The first 4-4 decision in SCOTUS occurred, and obviously if you get a 4-4 decision like that, the rules are that the lower court decision stands. This was a big victory for the unions because the 4 left-wing activist judges on the court decided that they were going to give the union bosses what they wanted. This was one where non-union employees did not want to pay union dues. Only applies in the first instance to public employee unions, but that will soon get spread, I'm sure, to other unions. And I mean, this is really a setback because the unions are using those dues for political purposes, and I think it is totally against the First Amendment to the buying, to the lobbying, basically. And some of it goes into paying the lavish lifestyles that the union bosses have. And all the time they're saying they're doing this for the workers. No, they're doing this for the politicians and for the bosses. And believe me, this is just fleecing the workers because the unions don't really do that much for them. And the only reason that the bosses can get away with it is because they share their ill-gotten gains with the regressive politicians. Now, talking about the misuse of funds, I have knowledge from a very trusted source, so I'll be honest, this is not first-hand, it is second-hand, but a very trusted source about the lavish expenses that get charged to hotel bills when the union bosses came to town in the Central Florida area for so-called union meetings. And believe me, the rank and file, the people don't live the way those people and their families lived at the cost of the union members. Totally unbelievable. And Rex, sorry, you may have been a member, but you were getting fleeced just as much as everybody else. Just having a look here, actually, I was going to start with a new topic, so I'll tell you what it is, but then we do have to go to another break. And finally, the left, I discovered, have got its own version of Kim Davis. Remember, Kim Davis refused to sign same-sex marriage licenses and got castigated for that by the left. Right, do your job, they said, that's what you're supposed to do. Well, now we have it going the other way. And guess what, folks? Crickets. But anyway, we'll, I'll talk about that after this break.
The offer of a franchise can only be made through delivery of a franchise disclosure document. Imagine yourself being a leader in America's fastest-growing demographic category. More than 10,000 people a day turn 65, and a large percentage are going to need a helping hand at home or in choosing the right assisted living community. Always Best Care is looking for people who've excelled at everything they've done, but they're seeking a new challenge. Always Best Care is one of the fastest growing companies in this explosive field. We're looking for 25 new franchisees to keep our booming business growing. We'll back you up with the strongest award-winning marketing program in the industry, and we'll provide the special training and support that's fueled our growth to prepare you for this great opportunity. All that's missing is you. Call Always Best Care toll-free at 1-800-643-7508. That's 1-800-643-7508. For Always Best Care, 1-800-643-7508. Call today.
Are you worried about losing your home to foreclosure? If you've been threatened with foreclosure or receive legal papers from your bank, you have approximately 30 days to respond. If you do not respond, you could lose your home. You have rights. Act now to protect your rights. You can stay in your home. Many times you can even modify your loan. The bottom line is you can get past this, but it's the time to fight back and save your home. Time is limited, so call right now. 800-296-3006. 800-296-3006. Call the professionals at National Foreclosure Defense right now. 800-296-3006.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. Okay, folks, we're into the final segment of the show. That was the last set of commercials. Mary was complaining half of my shows are ads. I actually have a total of 6 minutes of ads, Mary, but I do bring in some music now and again, and I just felt like doing some music today. I'm supposed to be on vacation this week, so I wanted to take it a little bit easy. I didn't want to spend all of my time berating folks, so just taking a little bit easier. Anyway, lots of interesting discussion in the chat room about Dingy Harry and how he got into power, and that kind of relates back to that union topic that we had. I am going to play another short clip because I think this is a good time to do it before we talk about the left and their version of Kim Davis.
And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right. Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant heap of totalitarianism.
And there you are, so down to the ant heap of totalitarianism. And part of that totalitarianism is the hypocritical way that the left and the media attack certain people. So remember how Kim Davis was excoriated for not doing her job because she refused to sign same-sex wedding licenses, and everyone, this is her job, she should do it, yada, 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 yada. Well, now Maryland has passed a law, and the governor has signed it into law, about transgender bathroom usage. And can you imagine, now all of a sudden, now the shoe's on the other foot, because the Attorney General of North Carolina has said that he will not defend that bathroom law, saying he believes it should be repealed because it is discriminatory. Now, he can think that, but his job is to defend that law, and if he doesn't do it, he should get his ass kicked out of office. The ACLU is partnering with other LGBTQRST, MABC, whatever, advocacy groups to file a lawsuit on Monday against the state of North Carolina. Fine. That's their right to do that. But, as I said, the AG of North Carolina said he's not going to defend it. Well, it's not his choice to make. Now, it's interesting because Roy Cooper is the name of the Attorney General, and he's actually going to be facing off against Republican Pat McCrory, who's currently the governor there, to become the face for the governorship. right? And McCrory has kind of become the face for the law, they say, the spokesperson. He's the one that did sign it. But Cooper has decided, right, that he's not going to support it. Well, folks, here it is again. A regressive decides that he knows better than all the legislators and the people of the state about what he should and should not do. Well, I have 2 words for Mr. Cooper. You're fired. And I'll say this. While I didn't totally agree with what Kim Davis did, at least she based her decision on her faith. She had a strong underpinning of why she did it. Cooper is just doing it to satisfy his ideological political leanings. And if we go that far that you can do that on any whim, where are we? If people in power can just decide what they want to do in terms of laws and things, where do we go from there? We just go down the tubes as a country. We should be a country of laws. Anyway, I see that the clock has been ticking. Just want to remind folks, please tell your friends about the show. We've got a lot of work to do before November. And unless the Republican Party really messes things up in Cleveland in July, we will still have a lot to do. Even if, and it looks like it will be Hillier that we're running against, even though we have a liar, a cheat, totally untrustworthy person, she will still be difficult to beat. We will have a lot to do. Hopefully we will have the right candidate to beat her, someone who's not afraid of her because she's a woman. You know, it's interesting, they keep saying Trump is a misogynist, but I'm waiting to hear why he is a misogynist. They never say what he said. Now, I'll agree with you, he says some pretty nasty things about particular women. Right, he said some nasty things about Megyn Kelly, but she said some nasty things about him, and he just hit back. And I will go back. I say I think he's probably the most equal opportunity person, because he will say bad things about someone that he doesn't like, whether they're male or female. He doesn't give a 2 hoots whether they're male or female. Does that make him a misogynist? That's what the left are trying to paint him as. I just think he's being totally equal opportunity, but that's my opinion. Anyway, folks, so tell your friends. We've got a lot to do. We need to get these messages out. And by the way, send me your emails if you've got topics you'd like me to handle, like me to research and bring into the show. Please let me know. I would be very glad to handle them for you. Anyway, let's see, here we go. It looks like the music's going to be starting shortly, and that means it's time for those usual words. It is TTFN, ta-ta for now. Please come back, join me again next week. It was fun doing it. I'll see you again, folks.
Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.